Welcome to the Fundraising Leadership Mini Podcast, where we share tips to empower leaders in the nonprofit world. I am Margaret Katz-Can, and I'm here today with my friend and teammate, David Langiuli. Good morning.
Good morning, good morning, good morning to you. It's the holidays and we're going to talk about Saboteurs today.
Oh, yes, yes, we are. And,
This is the Saboteurs for the Holidays podcast.
Yeah, so we were talking earlier about just how challenging the holidays are. The holidays aren't just one thing, right? There's parts of the holidays for people that can be magical and fun and pretty, and then there's also a very big list of things that can be wildly challenging. You know, these ideas of families that evolve and our kids do different things, and families change shapes, and anyway, things are just different, and it can be really challenging. And I think sometimes we can feel challenged because of FOMO, right? Seems like everybody else is having a better holiday experience. Wait, that's probably a saboteur. Anyway, David and I wanted to talk about not just one specific saboteur today, but a little primer on how your saboteurs might try to come and get ya this holiday season.
Hijack you and your holidays.
And your holiday experience.
Yeah. So, what do we mean by this? Like, I don't know. Maybe there are some of you out in the audience who just have a Warner Brothers motion picture perfect holiday every year. And if that is your life, then please email us. But I don't expect to be getting very many emails from.
You don't think you're going to get swamped? You don't think it's not going to go viral, huh?
Not going to go viral.
Yeah.
So Margaret and I were talking about our holiday experiences over the past 20, 30 years and how they've evolved and changed, and how that brings up a soup of emotions. But we're really here to talk about how the stress and anxiety around the holidays might sabotage you and your loved ones and your friends.
Yeah. And the first thing, just even in what you were talking about, David, this idea that there are people out there having a perfect holiday, right? Like just that
that's the judge.
Like, somebody's having a better time than
victim.
I am. Right. I think there's some victim there. Like even the belief that there is a thing that's a perfect holiday.
Stickler.
Yeah. Perfect.
Well, it's going to be perfect. It's got to be perfect.
Yeah.
Like Margaret was sharing how her pleaser and a bit of stickler, like when your kids were growing up, you would strive to make your celebration perfect. And so why don't you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I know many of our community members and listeners actually are part of the fundraising world. And so you will know what I'm talking about when I tell you that, December is not a month for most of us who are in the fundraising world where we get to take time off and have a leisurely half day to go to the stores and get organized. So it just became this season where work was insane, and working very long hours, and then just trying to fit in little snippets to run errands. And I had so much pleaser to a vision, of trying to create, I guess perfect. So a little bit of stickler, a little bit of pleaser, or maybe a lot of both of those things, of this celebration that helped to recreate the magic of my husband's childhood and create magic for my children. And it was somewhere between, abundant and completely crazy with all the things that we did. And so,
yeah. And also the controller can come in. I know when you get caught up, and I'm a traditional person in general, and I like tradition. And sometimes we get caught up in controlling all of the variables, the circumstances, and the people to make the tradition fit, even though families are evolving. There are people move around the world, this country of the United States. People die and they're no longer with us, or new friends and boyfriends and girlfriends come into the picture, and so the controller wants to control all these variables, and that can be very stressful.
Yeah, it can be so stressful. And then there's like, for me, this sort of nagging, as we hold on to traditions as our families age, right? And I've talked, as we were sharing, I talked about the aging of my children. David talked about the aging of his parents, right? But how, like, over a period of 10 or 20 or 30 years, things don't stay the same. They do, they change. And all, like, if we let ourselves get hijacked by all the shoulds and the disappointment and
like the shoulds, like also there can be a lot of resentment around things not being the way they used to be, or certain family members not contributing, you doing like, my sister never does anything for this holiday, I have to do it all. Victim, resentment, judge,
Yeah, it all originates with the judge, right? And us comparing what is or what's actually happening to some fantasy or some past movie that we have, stored in our brain files of like what it should look like, what we want it to look like. Right. And the judge, our judge holds tightly to that vision, so that the things that are actually happening in the reality have a really hard time comparing sometimes.
Yeah, I think the Hollywood industrial complex has not served us well in this regard, because if you watch cinema, then you all the way back to the 30s and 40s, you have some kind of image of what a perfect happy holiday is supposed to look like, except nothing in life actually ever imitates art, at least in my experience in this realm.
Yeah.
So the judge can be very, you wanting it, like comparison is like comparing your experience to some, silver screen experience is just not that healthy.
Right. Something that is imaginary, right? It's just made up. So
what do you think? I want to shift a little bit about to how we can use our superpowers. We call them the sage powers that might help us this holiday season. And I'm thinking, Margaret and I do a lot of work in the realm of positive intelligence, and we coach pods and we coach leaders in this work. And there's something called the sage perspective, and there's different aspects of this sort of wise self that exists in all of us. And I'm thinking about the first one we teach in the program, the PQ program. Margaret, do you remember which one that is?
Empathy.
Yeah. Like, just like give yourself a break.
And it's to try to get to that place of shift where instead of being tanked by feeling disappointed, you just notice, like, oh, look at that, there are some feelings of disappointment that are clouding my vision right now, right? It's just standing in a different place to notice, and and be soft with yourself, like, I can understand, and be soft with myself.
And then there's also as people's lives change and shift, and people don't show up for your holiday. Well, we were talking about this with you, Margaret. Your boys may or may not show up this year. There's a way of having compassion for yourself and the sadness that you in particular and anyone else listening might be experiencing when loved ones don't show up, or good friends don't show up, or in my case, my parents aren't showing up because they're dead, and I think about them every day. And then there's also the empathy for the other. Like, I think this is like having empathy for your boys because of what's also been lost in
Yeah, they're
their celebration.
yeah, absolutely. That right, because of divorce, everything has changed. And
Right,
right, yes, the holiday that they grew up with and that they loved, like, well, that's not available to them
right,
anymore. And
right.
there's a lot of sadness, I think, from them too. Yeah.
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 Um,
It occurs to me
yeah.
that there's another saboteur here that may, or sorry, not saboteur, another
Yeah.
sage power that maybe deserves
Right.
a little airtime. And I'm thinking about navigate, that
Okay.
return to our values, right? And when we talk about
Hmm.
navigate, it's kind of projecting ourselves ahead and standing in the
Hmm.
perspective of looking back,
Hmm.
right? Like from a future wiser version of ourselves to look back and
Hmm.
go, what was important? What do I want to remember? What do I want
Hmm.
to have had happen, and putting that lens of what do I value,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And I think
Yes.
that's
And there's something also about um, if you're in the current experience of why isn't this working this year? There's a way of zooming out to that 20, 30 years from now and looking back on it and asking yourself, what would I say about what's going on right now?
yeah, right. And
You know,
what's going to turn out to have been important,
right.
right? Because generally we invest a lot of time, it seems like, in worrying about and feeling sad about, things that aren't important later, right? That's the whole
Completely.
idea of getting hijacked in the moment by
Right.
something.
Right. Right. Yeah. And there's another sage power that I was also thinking about that may be appropriate for both of us and for a lot of folks in the audience, and that's the innovate power.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when when the landscape is shifting and changing, there's a way you can be very creative in how you celebrate the holidays. Uh, and this is, we talk about playing the yes and game, like saying yes to life the way it is right now, and adding something new to the experience of the holidays that you may want to get creative with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to right, what's something that you can design and create that fits for now, that's possible now,
Right. Yeah.
rather than holding on to what isn't happening.
Anything else you want to add to
um,
this?
No, I think it's a time of year where people often could use support, and just want to mention that I think I speak not only for myself but all of my teammates to say we'd love to hear from you if you
Mhm.
could use some coaching or some help finding a new perspective this time of year, or getting creative. We would
Mm.
love to hear from you, and you can
Yeah.
find any of us on our contact page on our website.
Yes. And
Yes, and whew, I love that,
yeah.
David.
Yeah.
I heard that. Snuck
If
that right
if
in there.
I did have to sneak that right in, innovate power. If you are noticing some of these saboteurs that we discussed and you really want to embrace some of the sage powers that we discussed, we'll put a link into the show notes for the positive intelligence coaching program, and you can reach out to one of us. I currently have two clients from the nonprofit world going through that with me one-on-one, and um, it's really supporting them at this
Yeah.
time of year. So yeah.
Yeah. It's a great program.
Yeah.
Good. Well,
All right, let's
thanks.
bring it
Thanks,
home. Bring
David.
it on
Let's bring it
home.
home. All right. This mini podcast is brought to you by Fundraising Leadership. We provide unique coaching and training programs that powerfully transform how you work in order to get results. Please subscribe. If you haven't already, you can find us wherever you listen to podcasts. If you are enjoying the show, you can help us continue to bring thoughtful content with a one-time contribution. This supports our production costs and keeps the show ad-free. Please make a contribution today using the link in the show notes, and if you do, you will receive one or more of our highly acclaimed online courses. Now go put it into practice.